Okay, so let's get started. It's 9 o'clock, and I am all about respecting your time. So, for those of you who may not know me, my name is Michelle, and I am a mindset and I would say logistics and productivity coach for women, especially who really want to excel in their career, but maybe not without the stress and overwhelm. Perhaps clients tend to be like, once they come to me, they are just either they've lost their passion and they want to get back to working, or they just feel stuck. So today, I'm excited that you're here. This is being recorded. We're going to send out the replay so that everyone can have the goodness. And today, I want to talk about closing out 2022, really putting a bow on it, and then looking towards 2023 and what you want to accomplish. I'm going to pull up my notes here. Because I want to teach a couple different ideas. So the way this is going to run is that we're going to start by talking about 2022. I am going to give you some time to journal on some prompts. And I really encourage you to take that time. We don't learn in our heads, right? Like, it's great that you're here and you're watching or you're listening. But in order to have the true transformation for yourself, you really need to give yourself the time to do this work. Think about, you could read a book about swimming, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to be able to swim once you close the last chapter, right? So invest this time in yourself. Okay. Why is this important when we're looking at 2022 and closing it down? The reason is because we want to be able to show your brain where you had success. Remember, our default thinking is to always look to the negative. That is how we are hardwired. But in order to make true change, we need to think on purpose and be very intentional with what it is that we want to create, because we are always creating. It's just a matter of us gaining awareness as to how we're doing that so that we can either continue creating some of the amazing goodness, or we might want to make some changes. So it's important to tell a story that is going to bring you into the new year with an energy to create what it is that you want. Now, we have an hour set aside here today. If there are questions that go over that, of course, I will stay until they're all answered. And if we finish a little bit early, that is also totally fine as well. I will give you back the time. It is, after all, New Year's Eve. How exciting. I will tell you, I also spared you all. I have my water because I thought I get excited and amped up just doing these conversations and calls. Need to take it down. I've already had some coffee, so I spared you. Tucker and I will go and for a little ride and get some coffee afterwards. Okay. What do you want to tell yourself about 2022? I want to encourage you to not say anything was a fluke or that you got lucky. We really want you to see how your brain, how you created these things. So I'm going to give you some journal prompts here. If you have like your pen, your paper, I don't care, a napkin, anything that works for you, right? Here are the questions, and I'm going to put them up and share them with you and give you 5 minutes to take the time to consider what these answers are. And if you have any questions, please feel free to either put them in the question and answer box and I will answer them, or feel free, if you need anything, to just raise your hand and I will be able to then call you up on screen. So I'm going to give you the questions and then I will put them up on the screen so that you guys have them to be able to see. What were some of your successes this year? You're going to write them down. And then I want you to look at what the positive effect was in your life. That's going to be question number 1. Question number 2, what were some tools or systems or processes? Maybe it's a habit that you implemented, and what was the positive effect in your life? And then number 3, what were some of the setbacks or disappointments, and what lessons did you learn from them? When you're doing this work, it is so important to come from a sense of curiosity. What we need in this world, in my humble opinion, is more women to give themselves some grace as to what it is they're doing instead of the judgment that is just so easy to go to. So if there were setbacks and disappointments, think about what you were able to learn from them. I truly believe that there is something that we can learn in every single example. So let me go ahead and share this, and then I'm going to put a timer on. I want you to please give yourself this gift. I know so many of you are so busy that you may not even think you have the time to do this. It will change everything. I will tell you, I was maybe where you're at now, and you might be able to relate. I feel like so many women will go after their career, go after their goal, and think once they get there, then they will feel better, or then they will feel like they've accomplished something, or whatever it is, they will feel successful. But the truth is, then we often move the goalpost on ourselves. So we're chasing after, chasing after, chasing after. We need to take a moment to slow down in order to get clear on what it is that we want and be able to speed up. So let me go ahead and share this with you. If y'all can see this craziness of a screen that I have here. How about that? Are you guys able to see them now? Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay. Please feel free to raise your hand or just put in the question and answer. Okay, so now that we have tied up 2022, and for sure, if you need more time to do this, please take that time at some point today. The reason I wanted to just at least give you 5 minutes was because I really want us to see that this work doesn't have to take that long. It can literally just be a couple minutes each day in order to gain awareness around things. And once you have that awareness, then there's a sense of agency for you to be able to make the changes that you most desire. So let's look at what it is that we most desire for 2023. Grab my notes here. I want you to think about this time next year and what you're hoping to accomplish. And think about it in a way, not just so much the goal, but who do you need to become in order to accomplish that? And when we're looking at these goals, I am not a huge New Year's resolution kind of person. I think sometimes, especially a lot of the women that are here or that tend to listen to me, they're high achievers, they're kind of perfectionistic thinking, and it's kind of all or nothing. And so we set these goals like work out, every single day for an hour. And then if something happens with our schedule and we're not able to, we're like, hell with it, might as well just not do it at all. Like even 10 minutes wouldn't make a difference. And that's not true. Like the things that we tell ourselves, we really need to be onto ourselves about these little stories. And they might just seem like little micro stories here and there, but they all add up. So I want you to think about if there was a magic wand that could be waved, what would be different in your life? Really just give yourself the chance to think about what you want. One of my coaches a couple of years ago, she asked that question and I was like, I'm not even sure, because I feel like so many of us are taking care of everything else, whether it be work, family, friends, like trying to do all of it, that we don't stop to think about, what do I want? And you know the answer if you just give yourself the time to think about it. So I'm going to have some more prompts up here. And I want you to just here's the one thing to know, spoiler alert, there's no right or wrong answer. It really is whatever you decide. And so we're going to have some time to kind of journal about that. And then when we come back, I want to bring up the planner and kind of look at the different aspects of it. And for sure, ask questions at that point, because here's the thing. I developed a planner based on how I feel works best for me. And I share it with clients and we work on it specific to their situations. So I want you to know, I want you to think about how you can utilize it best for you, not necessarily the way I say that you have to. That's the important thing. You need to figure out how it works best for you. And that may or may not mean that you do all of the steps. It's whatever works best for you. I want you to think about, when you're journaling also, what habits do you either need to stop doing, start doing, or continue doing? There's a great book, Atomic Habits by James Clear, and he talks about really becoming the identity. So the habits are the systems that you set up to become that identity. So you become a non-smoker, right? By making sure that you set up habits that are easy to take care of, often stacking them on top of habits that are already developed, and really set yourself up in a way that you make it easy for yourself. So what will be some of the habits that you need to start doing? When you're doing this work, I also just want to take a minute to remind you to not look to your past for evidence of what it is that you can accomplish for 2023. It's just so easy for us to think, well, I haven't ever lost that weight that I wanted to lose, or I haven't been able to stop drinking, or I never figure out my calendar. I just haven't. That's our brain on default. And we will never find the answers to how to do things if we haven't done them yet. So this is really a fun exercise to think about your future self, and you create from the future. What does she do differently? What does she maybe do on a Tuesday morning that you don't do now? Think about this. You can pick one specific goal, because here's the thing. How we do one thing is often how we do everything. So if you're able to just pick one example, you'll use the meta skill like throughout your life. Let me go ahead here, see if we can share the screen. Okay, there we go. I think, do you see it now? The next question, hopefully you guys can see it. It says that it's sharing. Who do you want to become in order to accomplish what it is that you put in question number 1? Absolutely. Yep. I'll be sending these via email. I think anybody who's here today is on the email list. So I'm going to send out the replay, and I am going to send out the slides as well. And then I will also include as a follow-up, I've sent the planner a couple of times, but I'm going to send that out again as well. Have fun with this too. Really. I mean, I feel like a lot of times the clients that I work with are so driven and task oriented and activities and thinking that there has to be something done correctly in order to check off the box. And that's really not what this is. This is really an opportunity to like dream, imagine, think about what it is that you want, like have fun with it. And then what habits do you need to stop doing, start doing, and continue doing? And go to that place where it is done. So what is it that you need to do differently every single day? And here's another thing, as you're all typing and considering this, I really want to encourage you. There's a tool that I use with my clients. It's basically like minimum baseline, so that you're able to figure out, what do I need to do minimally every single day in order to become the next version of myself? So what I mean is, let's say that you want to exercise more. What would be your minimum baseline? Like if all of the crap hits the fan on a particular day, and listen, I get it. Like I am still in the corporate world where my schedule changes day of. So I don't always know that I can do this at 9 o'clock and this at 10 o'clock and that, but I do know at minimum, I will get 10 minutes of movement in every single day. I'm probably going to up that actually. Even meditation, I started with 1 minute, and I think our perfectionistic brains want to tell us like, that's not even worth it. 1 minute. I'll tell you what, then it goes to 2 minutes, and then it goes to 3 minutes, right? There's what Darren Hardy calls the compound effect. And think about, he uses the example of if you're going on an airplane and you're going from point A to destination B, if you are 1% off of the flight over 6 hours, like you will end up at location C. So don't discount the importance of the small things that you do every single day. Now, I'm going to go ahead. I just want to do a new share here, so I'm not going to come back. Hopefully this will work for us so we don't miss out anything here. I am going to go ahead and share the planner. It looks like it's still up there. Let me just take a minute. I'm going to give you guys just probably about 2 more minutes or so to be able to finish up some of your answers. It doesn't look like there's any questions, so I think that is hopefully a good sign that you can see the planner. Okay. So this is, the start of the planner, but I just want to I'm going to go into how to use it so we don't need to waste any time there. What I suggest is when you're thinking about 2023, you think about what it is. We have the idea of what you want to do for the year. Now, let's break it down into chunks. So, what would that look like quarterly for you? And then we're going to go break it down again to monthly, and then weekly, and then daily. And again, take what works for you and leave what doesn't. When I first started doing this, it wasn't quite this entailed. So, it doesn't need to be this extensive. I do think that this is set up in a way that can totally have you rock everything. And I try to make it as simple as possible based on kind of going through it myself and what some other folks have suggested. So think about your yearly goal and then look at your quarterly plan. So this is perfect timing. You're going into the first quarter. What are your top 3 goals for the quarter? And why are those your goals? And I really would encourage you to ask yourself why, and then get the answer for that, and then ask yourself why is that important, and then get yourself the answer to that, and then ask yourself again, why is that important? We really want to have compelling reasons, because here's the thing, I use this example often. We can say, like, I want to lose weight or I want to work out, but then let's say you had a late night at work, you're getting up, the alarm goes off, and your brain is going to just tell you, we can be healthy tomorrow, like hit snooze. So you have to have a more compelling reason. For some folks, that might look like when you ask why. I've had clients in the past say like they want to be able to run around with their kids and play with their kids, or be an example to their kids as to what is possible and what healthy looks like. So it just makes it more compelling for you. Again, no right or wrong answer. It's what is your reason. And then we want to kind of think in advance. What will be some of the challenges? A lot of times for me, what I end up putting here is like sometimes my schedule does change. And I think the beauty of making this planner work for you is that you also can have what I'll call plan A and plan B. So maybe the goal is to work out 30 minutes a day. That's your ultimate, like that's who you think your new identity is. But you also know that there are days when things do not go as planned. And in those days, instead of the judgment and the shame for not like sticking to your goals, whatever it is, you have a plan B. And so on plan B days, like, okay, I'm not going to get 30 minutes in, but I'll get 10 minutes in. And that really helps for you to build the relationship that you have with yourself, trusting that you will always figure everything out. Let's continue down here. So once you have the challenge, like what would be your solution? So that's an example of that, right? My challenge might be that I don't always know my time, my schedule. It changes on the moment, but I know I will at least get XYZ done. And then what is it that you might have to say no to? And we have to think about this. A lot of times our brain wants to tell us like saying no is a bad thing because we think about what it is that we're missing out on. But if we can shift that and really think about what is it that you're opening up for yourself? When you say no to something, that means you're able to say yes to another thing. Like by you not saying no to the things that you don't want to do, you're missing out. You're saying no to the things that you really do want to do, right? So we need to think about what is it that we want to say no to in order to become that next version of yourself. And I will tell you, sometimes this is the place where it gets really uncomfortable because we've been so used to kind of just doing things the way we've been doing them. And once we start changing, some of the folks around us might not be so on board with us, right? So that's kind of the work that I do with my clients. Like, okay, now that we've made these decisions for ourselves and this is what we want to do, now we have to figure out how best to implement them, how we see that we are in control of all of it, how we see that we don't have to keep people pleasing and we don't have to keep doing all the things that have worked for us up to this point, right? Like all of our habits to this point have been beneficial for us. Now, however, we want to become somebody different. And in order to do that, we need to start doing things differently or stop doing things. So once you have the quarterly goals, Then you can just break it down to the monthly goals. And I have in here both monthly reviews and quarterly reviews. We have weekly reviews. I'll get back to this as we get down to the weekly and the daily, because it's really just an opportunity similar to what you just did for the yearly review, is to look at what were your top 1 to 3 goals, what were your outcomes, and then what worked, what didn't work, and maybe what were the top 3 challenges, and then what did you learn from them. It's super important that you make sure that you do the what worked first, because you want to show your brain, again, it is on default to go to the negative thinking. It will always tell us, I mean, think about the end of every single day. I mean, for most of you, I'm going to guess this might resonate, but it's like, oh, you didn't do that, and you forgot to do that, and you have to do that, and we didn't do that. And we don't take the time to be purposeful in telling ourselves the opposite story, right? There's always an opposite story. What else is true? Oh, I also accomplished XYZ and I did enough. Like, you can just tell yourself you did enough. I work on that every single day with my coach, finding ways that you do enough totally will change the way you look at what your priorities are, maybe what's important to you in doing, because you're not always feeling like you're running after the activities and the tasks and the to-dos. And you think that, oh, once I get all that done, then I'm going to be successful, or then I'm going to feel worthy. You can just tell yourself right now that you're worthy and you did enough. And that way, what I like to think about is, like, so often we're kind of here and we want to like race and be busy and do and do and do and do. And we think like, then we're going to feel successful. And then we just like move the goal on ourselves. And then we think that we have to still do and do and do. What I'm saying is, like, you're already successful. Like, what opens up for you above that? There's so much more when you just know that you're worthy. And from there, you make your changes. So utilize the quarterly review, utilize the monthly review, and then we basically just keep breaking it down. So when we're looking at the monthly plan, we pull those goals from the quarterly goals, which we know came from the yearly goals. It's really just a simple way of kind of breaking it down and keeping us accountable and keeping us able to stay in line and or make adjustments as we go throughout every single month. So then what were your top 3 goals that you need to accomplish in order to hit those quarterly goals? And remind yourself again, why is this important? What will be the challenge? What will be the solutions that you have? This next sheet is really just like an area for you to kind of write down all of the things that you think need to be done, and then kind of go back and reassess when you're prioritizing and see, is there 1, maybe 2 items on that list that if you did them would take care of some of the other items on the list. This is not an activity in being busy. I know so many people, feels good to be busy, right? Because then we think we checked off the box and checked off the box and checked off the box. I am suggesting you maybe check off the no box here. Like, does it need to be done? I can group it under another item. We are always prioritizing in our life, but we don't always give ourselves credit for it. What I want is for you to prioritize on purpose, with a purpose, to accomplish what you want to do in 2023. So think about this. Like, sometimes people will say, like, I just don't have time to do that. That's such a terrible story to tell yourself. I told myself that for many years. And then I thought my coach was crazy when she said, Michelle, you always have the perfect amount of time. And I thought, this lady does not understand me at all. She doesn't know my job. She doesn't know my life. But the truth is, we all have the perfect amount of time. We all have the same amount of time. Time is actually just kind of a mental construct, isn't it? Like, think about how you maybe are sitting in traffic and it takes forever and it feels like it's taking forever. But if you're on vacation, time flies, right? Time flies when you're having fun. We don't give ourselves credit for prioritizing and really choosing in each moment what we want to do. Because the truth is, let's say right now, well, it'd be kind of hard for a kid to run in here bleeding because I don't have them. But let's say something happened to the dog. I would probably, y'all are my priority here. But if something was wrong with the dog, I might say, hold on 1 second, start journaling and I'll be right back. I would prioritize. I wouldn't tell myself, oh, I don't have time to take care of that. Be onto yourself when you're saying you don't have time to take care of things. You do. It just feels so much more empowering. And when you know that, then you have the agency to be able to make the changes. So went on a tangent there, but I think it's super important because I feel like a lot of times we can feel like we're victims to our calendar and we have no control over it. And then that's when we start feeling stressed and overwhelmed. We tell ourselves we don't know what to do. And we do. If we just take a breath, we will always figure it out. This sheet here is really just kind of like a big picture view. Like if you have birthdays or holidays or just something that you want to kind of make a note of in your monthly overview, this is an opportunity to do that. And then we're going to break it down for the weekly. I like to do this on Sundays just to have an opportunity in the morning with some coffee and the dog and some quiet and look at what is it that I want to accomplish this week. 3 priorities. Again, we are not trying to do everything in 1 week. And I want you to look at this at the bottom here. What am I most proud of from last week? You might see a theme here. We're showing ourselves again how it is that we did celebrate some success, that we were successful. Okay, let me keep going here. And then we just break down each day. Again, I'll just share some kind of thoughts on what I do for this because my schedule does change. So I will either the night before or the day of try to do blocking out here on the actual times. I think what's most important is that you look at your top 3 goals for the day. So don't make a huge list of things to do. I really encourage you to try to get away from the mindset of doing a list of things to do. Take that list and actually put it in time slots when you're looking at your calendar, because your brain will get things done so much faster and stay so much more focused when you have specific tasks in specific times in order to accomplish. With that, I also include some buffer time because, again, I get it. Like schedules change and things get crazy. And so I might have something down from 9 to 10, but then I might have a break from 4 to 5 that I kind of keep as like empty space. It's kind of like wherever I need to fit something in, if maybe an emergency, something for work had to be done sooner than what I realized. Totally fine. Again, do it in a way that works for you. And then it's also nice just to remind yourself again, like when you're looking at your top 3 goals for the day, are they in alignment with your monthly goal? This goes back to also like being able to say no to things. When you put something on your daily planner, does it go in alignment with what you want to accomplish for the month? Because again, now we're going to go backwards, right? Your monthly accomplishments will roll up into your quarterly, which will roll up into your annual. And then take the time to consider, what is the energy that I need to show up for today in these goals? I don't know if you guys do this, but I, instead of doing the resolutions, have started doing word of the year. And so last year, my word was power. And when I looked up the definition, it talked about being in alignment with what is true to you and having the power to follow your gut and do things you want. This year, I'm thinking energy is my word of the year because we have so much control over bringing our energy each day. Like we are always in control of that. What creates that is going to be what we're thinking. And then that shows up in our feelings. And just think about, like, if you just thought about something sad right now and you start to feel sad, right? Or you could think about like, oh, I can't wait to go on vacation. I'm going to be at the beach. I'm so excited. Like we bring the energy. I think sometimes, I think it was Tony Robbins who said this, where he was talking about, people will say that food is energy, but think about how you feel after you eat Thanksgiving dinner. Like you're usually not energized, right? So it's your thinking. It's like music, maybe meditation, maybe like what lights you up. Give yourself the time to think about that. Energy, breath work. I'm just in the process now of doing more of that. And I can't wait to share it with you all. It is so amazing. So what is the energy that you need to bring to the day? Okay, that is kind of the high level planner. And let me go ahead and stop sharing. Just want to see if anybody has any questions. I'm so excited that you are here today. So it looks like, do I have to do the what worked, what didn't work, and what did I learn all the time? I don't listen, again, you get to make this what it is in a way that works for you best, right? What I would suggest is at minimum that you start with what worked. Show your brain, because here's the truth. I think normally our brain just tells us, anyways, what didn't work. Start with what worked at minimum. If that's all you're going to do when you're kind of reviewing, give yourself the credit to see what it is that did work for you. Okay, let me see. So I actually like to print out, someone asked if the planner is, if I print it for the full year or quarters. I like to do just the quarters. And honestly, I mean, it's totally up to you. You could even, write it in a notebook if you wanted to just kind of get started with it to see how it works best for you. But I like to do mine in quarters. And then that way, honestly, part of it is that way I feel like I'm just, always refreshing. Like I like to have kind of the new start, and I love a planner. So I like to do it quarterly. And I do do Monday through Sunday. I do. I will use my planner for planning on the sheet that has the planner. And then on the flip side, like the back side when it's empty, I use that as kind of like my journal. So that's where I just will like download any of the BS that's in my brain to be able to kind of see what's on it and get it out of there. And then that way I also feel like I'm kind of using the paper in a really good way. So that's how I do it. But I do like to, back to the Monday through Sunday, I do like to plan my weekends too. I will plan like, so Saturdays we have date day. So from like 12 to 2:30, I know that like I'm going to be out to lunch with Mark, or I know that I'm going to be doing household duties at whatever time. And I'll tell you what happens with the whole household part of it. It's funny because I am notorious, if I don't do this, of, running upstairs to clean the bathroom and then going downstairs to do the dishes, but then get stopped by the laundry. Not that the laundry stops me, but then I start doing laundry and Mark will be like, I thought you were cleaning the bathroom. And I don't stay super laser focused. And that's when I think we get in trouble. Like if I just say, okay, from 9 to 9:15, I'm doing sheets. And then I'm going to, again, you make it, this might seem a little uptight, but it really works for me to give my brain like a time schedule around, even if it's an hour, right? Like I'm going to clean the house for 1 hour and this is what I'm going to get done, XYZ. And then you get to work. And it opens up so much more time for you to be able to have clean space to like do more of what you want because you are focused and you're scheduled. And you'll be surprised. Sometimes, I see there's a question like, how do you know how long to schedule for each task? Sometimes you guess, and sometimes you just put it in for whatever allotted amount of time. And then again, give yourself grace because it might be a learning process as to like having buffer time in there, but you might also surprise yourself at how quickly you get something done. And then have that extra time to be able to do something else. Sometimes I'll even do that. I'll schedule something, but I know like, okay, I scheduled an hour for it. If I get it done in a half hour, then I'll have like my plan B, right? That can be like a backup thing that I want to get done. So it's really like however works best for you. And I didn't include this in the start of the class, but now that I'm thinking about it, before you start planning, if it's helpful, doing a time exercise, like a time journal, and looking at where you spend your time, it might just give you a good idea as to how much time you are currently spending on different things. And it might give you an awareness of like, holy crap, I didn't even realize I was spending my time doing that. And looking at like, where is your zone of genius? I think it's Gay Hendricks, The Big Leap, where he talks about this. Where are you spending your time in your zone of genius versus where are you like just spending time on something that could be delegated or something that doesn't even move the needle? I'm going to include that also, the little time exercise. I'll include that in the replay as well so that you guys have the option if you want to be able to take a look at that too. Okay, any other questions? This has been so much fun. I do apologize for that screen sharing. We'll get on it. Next month, we're going to do another class. So I will share this recording. I'm going to share the slides. I will share the planner again and also the time exercise. And for sure, if any of you have any questions as you are going through this, please feel free to reply to any email. If you want to learn more about working directly with me, you can just go to michelleburkecoaching.com/connect. And then we can just get on a private call and kind of talk about where you're at, what it is you want to accomplish, and how we can get you there. But otherwise, I hope that you all have a great, happy new year. And thanks so much for being here. Cheers. I can't wait to see what everyone accomplishes. There's no other questions. I will let you all go. Have a great day.